different, and it was quite nice, and I consider myself really fortunate and really lucky in that we were kind of John Lawless, in fairness, when he set up the Cardiff Devils, was almost the pioneer of professionalism within ice hockey. So we brought some really good quality players in, and we would have specific strength and conditioning sessions, which was never heard of in those days. You know, and I mean, it's in every sport now, everybody does it, right the way from amateur up to professional. Then we would have, going to circuits and things like that, and muscle-specific exercises to try and get you stronger and quicker and faster on the ice, which nobody had ever done. And even to the extent, I remember one year we actually had somebody come in who was a sports psychologist, never been heard of, and the game was we went to Nottingham and we had to win in Nottingham to win the league, and Nottingham was one of the hardest places you could go and play, and we went there the night before, which again was never heard of, stayed in a hotel, and this sports psychologist sat down with us and ran through everything of how your day was going to look for the next day, ready to prepare for the game. And you look at likes of Johnny Wilkinson now with the rugby player, they talk about visualising what's going to happen, and that's exactly what he did. And we walked into Nottingham the next day and he took a video of all of us getting off the coach going into the game, and you could see everybody was 100% focused on that match, and we won it, and we won the league up in Nottingham. But yeah, so going back to what you were saying, the way things have changed over the years and what we did back then, I mean, things change now, we're drastically improved, but what we did back then, it was a sort of start of professionalism, but there's a lot better stuff out there these days. I have got loads of sort of favourite moments. And playing for Cardiff, we were at top of the tree for the time that I sort of played, and they did beyond when I finished playing. But I think for me it was winning at Wembley, because as a kid you used to go to Wembley, and I remember as a junior playing at like 12, 13 years of age, I'd go and watch the Devils when they had their sort of infamous win against the Murrayfield Racers in a penalty shootout. But prior to that game, you would have the two best British junior teams playing, and I was like, I just want to play on the Wembley ice, even as a junior or a senior. And I was lucky enough that we went to Wembley a couple of times and won. However, we played Sheffield the one year and we were absolute enemies throughout the whole year. They had a great team. They just built the Sheffield Arena where Gladiators is filmed now, you see on the television, and it was amazing. It was absolutely immense, and we had some great battles, but they were tipped to win it. They had all the money, they had all the players, and we went in there and we blew them out of the water 12-1. And the very last goal that was scored by, there was purely Welsh youngsters on the ice. So it was myself, Neil Francis, Richard Townsend, James Manson and Simon Keating, and it was from end to end we scored the goal. It was brilliant, it was absolutely superb. That is my favourite moment, without a shadow of a doubt. I thought, you know what, I need to get myself back in shape. And it was purely someone who I worked with. He said, have you ever tried triathlon, running, whatever? I said, come on, we'll give it a whirl. And I got myself back into a bit of shape, and I did my first ever sprint triathlon when I was about 38, 39 maybe a little bit younger. And then it just took on from there, did longer distances, and then one of my mates in work said, have you ever tried Ironman? Never even heard of what it was, didn't know what it entailed. I went, oh go on, yeah, I'll give it a try, we'll try anything. And we ended up going out to Lanzarote and went and did the Ironman over in Lanzarote, just me and my mate, and it was the hardest thing that I have ever done in my entire life, without a shadow of a doubt. It broke me. So I went to Lanzarote, and I thought that I'd done all the training that I needed to do, but I couldn't cater for the heat and the wind out there, and I was literally on my last legs as I was running, and it was one of those ones where they bring out the metal foil sheet just to try and get you to the finish line. So yeah, I was very grateful for a woman who was serving soup on the side at one point, it just tasted like absolute pure sea salt. It was like sea, wasn't it? She warmed up, but the salt getting into my system made a massive difference, and I was able to cross the finish line. Hey, it takes all sorts. Anybody can do it. As they say, anything is possible, but it does take a lot of commitment. It takes a lot of discipline. But just go and enjoy it.